extreme 30,000 firefighters, 86 uncontained fires, and the West is still getting hotter. This is what National Preparedness Level 5 looks like. And today, the numbers got even worse. The Little Giant Fire in Washington has grown to 74,000 acres with just 1% containment per the August 7th IMSR. The Widemouth 2 fire in Utah has crossed 106,000 acres, threatening to rewrite state history. And out in Jackson County, Oregon, a brand new fire called Woodrat flared up at 8:30 last night and burned 300 acres before crews got a handle on it. 5.5 million acres burned nationwide, 44% above the 10-year average, and fire season peaks in September. Every number in this video comes from official incident reports, NIFC, and on-the-ground updates. No guessing, no dramatizing. Let's go. We're going to build this differently today, starting with the newest breaking developments, then working through the full national picture from west to east. Because overnight, while most people were asleep, fire crews across Washington, Oregon, and Utah did not stop working, and the situation shifted. Let's open in southern Oregon, Jackson County, because the Woodrat fire is the freshest report we have. It came in around 8:30 on the evening of August 6th. When it was reported, it was running at approximately 300 acres southeast of the town of Ruch, with roughly 50% of the perimeter lined by crews. Eyewitness accounts from the ridgeline above the fire noted that fire intensity appeared to be dropping by that point in the evening. That is a meaningful early sign. Once the helicopter stood down for the night, crews on the ground continued working. The sound of heavy machinery and chainsaws persisted well into the evening hours. Level 3 Go Now evacuation orders were issued for areas threatened by the Woodrat fire. If you are in that zone, follow Medford Unit, Oregon Department of Forestry for updates. It is a relatively small fire by today's national standards, but in these conditions, 300 acres with active terrain can move fast, and crews are taking it seriously. Now let's step north into Chelan County, Washington, because the Little Giant Fire is one of the most rapidly deteriorating situations in the country right now. As of the August 7th IMSR, the Little Giant Fire has burned 74,284 acres, and it is at just 1% containment. 1%. With 1,506 firefighters assigned. That number tells you everything about the fire behavior crews are dealing with in this terrain. This fire started from a lightning strike, just like Widemouth 2 in Utah, and it is now threatening 1,824 structures in the Chelan County area. Widespread evacuation orders are in effect. Crews are also working to contain a 445-acre spot fire that has developed near Safety Harbor Campground. For those of you who know the Lake Chelan area, crews are actively working structure protection on homes around the lake itself while fighting the main fire simultaneously. Authorities are warning that hot, dry, and windy weather over the next several days could push this fire significantly further. At 1% containment, virtually no stable perimeter line exists on this fire. The Little Giant Fire at 70,000 plus acres with zero containment is one of the most dangerous situations in the nation today. Watch this one closely. Let's stay in Washington and build out the broader picture, because the Sinlahegan Fire near Tonasket has reached 120,000 acres with 20% containment. 3 fires near Spokane, Old Trails, Autumn Lane, and Fairview remain active with evacuations in place and numerous residences and critical infrastructure threatened. The Kaiser Canyon Fire near Nispelem is at 136,000 acres, 43% contained, with 44 structures confirmed destroyed per the IMSR. The Ptarmigan Fire in the Okanogan-Wenatchee National Forest, 20 miles northwest of Mazama, is at 17,000 acres with zero containment and active uphill runs. Washington's fire situation is, by any measure, a statewide emergency, and the weather pattern shows no meaningful relief through the extended forecast period. Now into Oregon, and here we have the most significant update of the day from the Rowe Creek Complex, 10 miles south of Fossil in Wheeler County. As of this morning, August 7th, the Rowe Creek Complex has grown to 357,895 acres, up from 340,000 yesterday. Containment has actually improved overnight. jumping from 62% to 73%, which is genuinely good news earned by crews working through the night. Here's what crews were doing while most people slept. Along Highway 26, firefighters kept the fire west of the road, burning along the roadway itself to reinforce and expand their holding line. In the area between Highway 26 and Mill Creek, crews prepped additional contingency lines while holding the fire north of Peterson Creek Road, Forest Service Road 3300-500. In the Cherry Creek area, existing control lines were prepped and the road system was used for access. More crews are being assigned to Cherry Creek today as crews finalize their hold plan. One significant note, conditions remained warm and dry through the night, with active fire behavior continuing past 1 in the morning. These are not easy conditions for night operations. Highway 26 remains closed from milepost 32.5 to milepost 66 as of this morning. Plan accordingly if you are traveling through Wheeler and Grant counties. The Shingle Fire, 14 miles southeast of Mitchell, is at 70,806 acres and 53% contained, per the August 7th morning update. Crews on the Shingle Fire are using what's called tactical firing operations. That's when firefighters intentionally burn vegetation between the active fire edge and an intended control line, removing the fuel before the main fire gets there. On the southern edge of the Shingle Fire, hot and dry conditions have increased fire intensity and spotting. Crews are aiming to complete firing operations over the next few days with night shift holding and mopping up. Good news on the Shingle Fire. Existing burn scars and geographic features have, in the words of fire managers, decreased the risk of large fire growth on the southern edge. Today is the final shift for the Australian and New Zealand crews who have been supporting all 3 fires in the Ochako area, their last workday on the Rowe Creek Complex, Coyote, and Shingle fires. The Coyote and Henry fires remain within their established perimeters. Fire managers do not expect further spread on either of those incidents, and mop-up is underway. Emergency fire closures remain in effect across most of the Ochako National Forest and BLM Prineville District. John Day Fossil Beds National Monument is also closed to the public. Oregon's other major fires, Big Grass at 358,000 acres, Coleman Creek at 309,000, and Bald Mountain at 78,000, remain active across the eastern part of the state. Oregon has now officially surpassed 2 million acres burned in this calendar year, shattering the state's modern wildfire record that was set just 2 years ago in 2024. And the season is not close to being over. That is the uncomfortable reality for Oregon communities right now. Let's head south into the Great Basin because the Widemouth 2 fire near Kanosh, Utah, is the fire with the most momentum and the highest stakes in today's national picture. Here is where things stand as of the August 7th morning. The fire has burned 106,450 acres and is 19% contained. That puts it within just 740 acres of overtaking the Babylon Fire in San Juan County. Utah's largest wildfire of the 2026 season at 107,189 acres. To understand the scale of this operation, crews have dropped over 500,000 gallons of water and 605,000 gallons of fire retardant on this single fire. 90 miles of dozer line have been bulldozed around its perimeter, which itself stretches 156 miles, longer than the distance from Salt Lake City to Provo and back several times over. 540 personnel are assigned. 6 structures have already been confirmed lost. Evacuation orders in Millard and Sevier counties remain in effect this morning. The western boundary near Kanosh and Meadow is the relative stable front. Crews are reinforcing lines and keeping the fire from pushing toward the I-15 corridor. The northern boundary remains the primary challenge. Steep terrain between Pioneer Peak and Mount Catherine is acting like a chimney, pulling the fire uphill faster than crews can safely work. Crews on the north side are working to connect to the 2026 Wild Goose Fire burn scar, using a previous fire's footprint as a natural barrier. That's a proven tactic in the right conditions. On the northeast, the 2022 Halfway Hill burn scar is helping slow the fire's advance. Old scars can be critical assets in stopping new fires, and this one is doing its job. The eastern flank is where the fire is winning right now. Strong upslope runs and daily smoke columns are the signature of a fire that has not found its limits on that side yet. The fire is pushing simultaneously northeast toward Holden and southeast toward Joseph Peak in Sevier County. Two flanks, one team, impossible choices about resource allocation. Large timber in the burn zone is at 5% moisture content. That figure comes directly from the official fire briefing. 5% is effectively kindling in tree form. Today's forecast for the Widemouth 2 area is expected to produce, in fire management's own words, a very active fire day. Variable winds plus bone-dry fuels plus midday heat. Now let's go through evacuation zones specifically. These come from the official Widemouth 2 fire information sheet and the NIFC fire map updated August 5th. Level 3 go now. Orders cover Kanosh south of 300 South, Turkey Track Lane, Cemetery Road, and the area from 4400 South to Reservation Road near Meadow in Millard County. Level 3 also applies to private properties near Joseph Peak in Sevier County. Follow the Sevier County Sheriff page for real-time updates on that area. Level 2 B-set warnings cover Kanosh north of 300 South, sections of Fillmore along 500 South and Baker Lane, and Meadow Canyon Road south to 4400 South. If you receive a wireless emergency alert or a door knock, that is the go now signal. Do not wait to see what happens next. Leave immediately. The fire information line for Widemouth 2 is 435-261-3607. Full closure information is on INCIWeb at incyweb.wildfire.gov. Also in the Great Basin, the Tartar Fire northwest of Weiser, Idaho stands at 147,000 acres and 53% containment per the IMSR. The Ward Fire near Ely, Nevada is 5% contained with nearly 9,000 acres burned. A new incident management team is in the process of mobilizing to that fire today. Now let's move east to Colorado, where the Aspen Acres fire 20 miles southwest of Pueblo has burned over 101,000 acres in Custer and Pueblo counties. Federal incident data from the August 6th IMSR documents 915 structures lost to that fire, with a cumulative cost to date of $97 million. That makes Aspen Acres the costliest single incident in today's National Situation Report, a number that represents homes, barns, outbuildings, and the lives of hundreds of families. The Gold Mountain Fire near Ouray is a relative good news story, 39,000 acres, 89% contained, and the threat to numerous structures is significantly reduced. Over in Minnesota's Superior National Forest, 5 fires continue burning: Thumb, Wolfpack, Sioux, Bear Trap, and Camp, all with minimal to light fire behavior for now. Down in Texas, the Bear Hollow fire near Jacksboro grew by 506 acres in a single day. Breezy south winds and 20 to 30% humidity are keeping that region in fire weather mode. Now let's talk weather, because the atmospheric setup driving all of this is not going anywhere, and understanding it helps you plan for the next several days. The dominant feature is a persistent upper-level ridge, a heat dome, parked over the Intermountain West, trapping hot air near the surface and blocking any cool, moist flow from the Pacific. Think of it this way: normally, weather systems move through and give you some variation. Right now, the pattern is locked. The same brutally hot, dry air just keeps recycling over the same areas. The inland Northwest and Northern Great Basin are holding at or above 100 degrees Fahrenheit, per the NIFC Predictive Services discussion. Inland California is reaching up to 110 degrees in some valleys. That figure is confirmed by the NIFC fire weather forecast, not a model projection. Minimum relative humidity east of the Cascades and Sierra Nevada, all the way to the Continental Divide, is dropping to 3 to 15% with poor overnight recovery. Poor overnight recovery is a critical term. It means even at 3 or 4 in the morning, when it should be coolest and most humid, the fuels are not recovering moisture. Fires stay active all night. That is exactly what we saw with the Rowe Creek Complex. Fire behavior was described as active past 1 in the morning. In normal fire weather, that would not happen. Now here is the additional threat layered on top of all this: dry lightning. The Storm Prediction Center defines this as lightning accompanied by less than 1/10 of an inch of rain at the surface. Sometimes you'll see the word virga used. That's precipitation you can see falling from a cloud in the distance that evaporates in the hot, dry air before it ever reaches the ground. The result is a lightning strike hitting bone-dry fuels with no rain to suppress any ignition. In these conditions, a single strike can start a fire that covers 10,000 acres by morning. The NIFC Predictive Services discussion identifies isolated mixed wet and dry thunderstorms for southern Nevada, southeast California, southwest Utah, and northwest Arizona over the next 48 hours. The southern plains, Texas, Oklahoma, also carry a dry thunderstorm threat. Alaska's eastern interior is additionally warm and dry, with isolated storms raising new ignition risk up there as well. We already saw what a single day of ignition activity looks like. NIFC counted 100 new fires on August 5th alone. Dry lightning over the next 2 days could produce similar numbers. The 5-day extended outlook gives no meaningful change to this pattern. No cold front, no precipitation, no break in the heat dome through at least August 11th or 12th, per NIFC. For the Four Corners, the Mogollon Rim area of New Mexico and southern Colorado, there is a forecast for isolated to scattered wet thunderstorms. That is the one pocket of potential relief on the map. For the northern Rockies, Montana and northern Idaho, NIFC reports above normal temperatures spreading into the region. The Skillet fire near Olney, Montana is already showing active behavior with group torching. The national picture. 25 complex incident management teams committed, 1 national incident management organization, international crews from Australia and New Zealand, and 4 MFF C-130 air tankers pre-positioned in Oregon and California. Every resource in the country's firefighting arsenal is effectively deployed. There is no significant reserve sitting on the bench. That is what Preparedness Level 5 means in practice. Here are the 3 benchmarks that will define how this situation evolves over the next 72 hours. And I want to be clear, these are analysis, not official government forecasts. Benchmark 1, does the Little Giant Fire's 1% containment hold, or does the fire push further in the critical weather ahead? 1,500 personnel are trying to answer that question right now. Benchmark 2, does the Widemouth 2 fire cross 107,000 acres and become Utah's largest wildfire of the 2026 season? It is within striking distance today. Benchmark 3, does dry lightning in the forecast zones trigger new large fire starts in Nevada, southern Utah, or Arizona before the weekend? That could push the national count to 90+ uncontained. If you are anywhere in the fire-threatened West, Oregon, Washington, Utah, Nevada, California, Colorado, this is not a week to wait and see. Make decisions ahead of any order, not after. Have your go bag ready: water, food, medications, important documents, phone chargers, cash and supplies for your pets and livestock. Not tomorrow. Today. Know your evacuation routes before you need them. Drive them once if you have not. When a Level 3 order comes, roads get congested within minutes in fire-prone communities. Sign up for your county's wireless emergency alert system. It supplements the national system with hyper-local warnings that can reach you faster than any social media post. Do not rely on what you see outside your window as a guide to danger. Smoke and fire can travel faster than your perception of safety. Trust the official orders, not your eyes. And do not fly drones anywhere near active fire operations. A single drone grounds all aircraft, the air tankers, the helicopters, the retardant drops. Everything stops while the airspace is cleared. For real-time fire updates, go directly to nifc.gov, InsideWebWildfire.gov, and your local National Weather Service office at weather.gov. Those are the authoritative sources. For Rowe Creek Complex updates specifically, the email is 2026.creekcomplex@firenet.gov. And for Widemouth 2, the information line is 435-261-3607. Let's take a moment to acknowledge what is actually happening out there, because the numbers can start to feel abstract after a while, and they should not. Crews on the Rowe Creek Complex worked through active fire behavior past 1 in the morning. Crews on Little Giant are holding a 1% containment line with 1,506 people deployed. Australian and New Zealand firefighters are working their final shift on Oregon fires today. Crews who came to this country to help protect American communities and land. On the Woodrat Fire in Jackson County, a crew was on a ridgeline above the fire at 8:30 at night, watching the intensity drop, listening to chainsaws and machinery continue below them in the dark. That is what this season looks like up close. Not just the acres and percentages, but people working in the dark on the edge of mountains, because communities need that line held. All statistics in this video come from the National Interagency Fire Center, the August 6th and 7th Incident Management Situation Reports, and official INSI web fire pages. The Woodrat Fireground information reflects eyewitness field reporting from August 6th evening. That information is noted as observational, not official incident command data. Weather data uses the official NIFC Predictive Services discussion language. City-specific temperature ranges cited are from that official document, not model-generated point forecasts. The 3 benchmark scenarios presented are editorial analysis based on official data trends. They are not government forecasts or official fire behavior predictions. Here is the overall picture as we stand on August 7th, 2026. This is a fire season that has already rewritten history and is not finished doing so. Oregon passed 2 million acres. Utah's Widemouth 2 within reach of the state's largest fire title. Little Giant at 0 containment and growing in the heart of Washington's lake country. A heat dome with no scheduled departure. Dry lightning forming in the forecast zones, and every resource in the nation's firefighting system already at maximum deployment. 5.5 million acres burned at 144% of the 10-year average, and the traditional peak of fire season does not arrive until September. We are going to be covering every significant development as it comes in. The Little Giant Fire, Widemouth 2's acreage milestone, the dry lightning threat, and whatever comes next. If you want the most accurate, sourced wildfire updates without the noise, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you are not catching up after the fact. Every update we put out cites its sources directly in the video, because in a situation this serious, you deserve to know exactly where every number came from. Stay aware, know your evacuation plan, follow your local emergency management, and take care of your neighbors. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe out there.